Okay, our recording is starting right away. If you are not willing to remind us, then I think I can also remind you by giving you my quiz this morning. I can decide to give you my quiz this morning, right? Then from there, a good reminder will come. Okay. I saw a sign that tells us that someone is willing to give us something. I'm already sharing the screen. Please do remind me too after the class. I need to uh, upload some textbooks, some qualitative textbooks. I think they are quite a number, close to 10 or thereafter. You may not read everything, just read the one you can read and keep the rest. If you have time after the lecture, you keep reading. But the fact is that you need to read everything. You need to read everything. They are going to help you more on all that we have discussed. Whatever we share in class here is just teachers' opinion. You need to find out if that teacher is actually right or wrong. So you need to read. Can we have a reflection? Please, you have the floor. Someone indicated to share something with us. If you were in class last week, what did we cover? No, for undergraduates, I will just turn it to a quiz. Maybe I should do the same for you. You are all mature student. Parent, should we turn it to a quiz? Oh, nobody is speaking now. Have I lost the class?
So we are here. Good morning, sir.
Oh, I don't know. I can't actually pick that out. I want to hear what we did last week so that I will know that I didn't just waste my time for the 3 hours we had engaged. We were really engaged for 3 hours. So was it in vain? Class.
No, sir.
All right, like to hear your voice and like to hear your input on what we did last. So can you please communicate with the class? Let's get engaged. Okay?
Okay.
All right, let me start from the people at least I am getting to know this morning. Madam Winnie, tell us a bit of what you picked from the class last week. Dr. Winnie, yes. I hope you won't regret that you prayed this morning. Don't say that. Dr. Winnie, are you still with us?
Okay, Prof. Let me just try. I don't know before Winnie comes up.
Okay.
I'm just yeah. So I think off of the top of my head, I'm looking at my notes. I think we talked about the types of quality research design, and we looked at ethnography, phenomenology, the grounded theory study, um, the historical and narrative research, mixed method approach, and some types of study design, which includes the convergent parallel mixed method, the explanatory sequential mixed method, exploratory sequential mixed method, the embedded mixed method, multiple phase, and complex mixed method. And there are different convergent points. So, yeah, I think under the different research theory designs, we also looked at the roles of the researcher in each of those scenarios.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So can we have more people that will tell us? There are some mixed up. There are some mixed up there. I would come up to clarify if the next person did not clarify that. Okay. But
Good morning,
before
sir.
then, yeah, before Nasiru, let me just say that it was actually types. It should be types of. It should be types of qualitative, not quality. Sorry for. I think you start off when you were jotting down types of qualitative
Yes, qualitative design. Yes, you're correct.
design, not quality, as mentioned. And
Sorry, I
no,
wanted to say
all right,
qualitative.
yeah,
Apologies.
it's okay. We are in a training. It's a training ground, and you also have the privilege to frequently flip back and watch the video. It wasn't just put on the YouTube for fancy or for financial gain. It's actually to assist for clarity purpose and for a reflection to be able to help you, especially when you would have to write, because there's usually a gap between the time of study and the time of writing. All right, Nasiru, over to you.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Morning once
Yes.
again.
So, last week we talked basically on the types of qualitative research design, just as you ended in correction, sir. Types of qualitative research design. So, I remember we talked about the ethnography, the phenomenology. I think these are the two ones that I really remember that we spoke a lot about. What I think we also talked about case study. So under the ethnography, we talked about the macro ethnography and the micro ethnography, where for the macro, we are talking about a broad study that defines an entire culture. That is a very broad study. When we are talking about maybe the British Empire, the Ottoman Empire, and everything. Then when we talked about the micro ethnography, we're talking about just a small culture within a very large community. Like, and then we talked about certain types of types of cultures in Nigeria that we feel should be abolished or looked into. Then we talked about the issue of kings, the issue of the own festival that is done, the right of king's passage, among many others. So many others which are given in the class. I think then we also talked about certain steps in ethnographic research that is done by the researcher. That's what we now move into. I think now we're going to move into the role of the researcher. Then we'll talk about identifying the culture, the significance of the culture and the variables within that particular culture. We're talking about culture, immersion, description of the culture, analysis of the data, a lot of steps involved in ethnography. Then we also talk about the roles of the researcher, how the researcher plays into that particular study. And then I think you kept on emphasizing the fact that while you're researching about, let's say, Babalawo or something, you should try those not to end up being someone that starts reciting the incantation or while you research about night callers, you should try as much as possible not to end up even you yourself being a night caller. So I think that was what about the various disadvantages of that particular study, which is the ethnographic research design. Then I think we talk about phenomenology, which is based off the experience of an individual in a particular population or a culture. I think that's why we compared phenomenology to case study research, and we had a lot of opinion. That was towards the ending of the class, among many others. Sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you so much. Uh, I appreciate that, and we there's a need for us to keep pace. We are not just coming to this class just for study's sake. We should contribute, and our contributions should help us to recall with live experiences of what we are doing, so that we don't forget. Are we from the two contributors? It appears that we have not started mixed method. Is that what you are saying, class?
Yeah, we have started mixed method, sir.
Hello.
Yes, we're
We,
here, sir.
we did it last week.
We did
Mixed
it.
method.
Okay.
Mixed method.
Go, all right. Let's take it one after the
Adepo,
other. I know. I know.
Adepoju.
Yeah. Just listen.
We,
Just
we
listen.
also did a mixed
Hello. Hello.
methods approach.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Just be patient. I'm coming. I will allow you to speak. Just be patient. Now, I know the layers of the studies we have done, and we need to get to the last layer so that we don't build on a foundation that is not well structured. And thank you for those who have reminded us. Most of the contributions you have made are actually, they are still, when I say still, most of them are not actually last week lecture. Some may be, and a few actually flipped to the last one before last week. However, we have not really hit the nail at the right point on the head, and that's why I'm asking. Now, Madam Adepoju, you just tell us exactly what we have done in mixed method and where we stop. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Last week, we also did a mixed methods approach, which is a procedure for collecting, analyzing, and mixing both the quantitative and the qualitative approaches in a single study. Then we also mentioned the types of mixed study designs, which include five: convergent, mixed methods, explanatory, exploratory, embedded, and multiple phase mixed method. Then we also mentioned the explanatory mixed method. We also where you mentioned, gave a scenario of a Lagos Ibadan expressway accident happening there, what the FRSC people will tell us, and that we should also interview the driver as well. So then to explore exploratory mixed method also was mentioned, where we start with the qualitative aspect and build on, go further to collect more data as a quantitative method.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
That's you've just and if you will remember very well, if you
Can I
remember very,
say?
okay, yes, go ahead, please.
Yes, this is Vivian Igbadon from
Okay.
Law.
All right. Vivian,
The
go ahead.
last class we started with the grounded theory. We talked about the role of the researcher, the disadvantage and advantages of the grounded theory. You spoke about historical research, stroke the narrative research. You talked about the advantages too and disadvantages. You talked about case study, how to solve a case study, the advantages and disadvantages of case study, and then we proceeded to the mixed methods, which in you talked about the types of study designs, the convergent parallel mixed method, the explanatory mixed method design, the exploratory mixed methods, the embedded mixed methods, multiple phase mixed methods, and then we started with triangulation before the class ended.
Thank you so much. All right. All your contributions were valid. Um, Thank you for reminding us. And we have been doing this frequently before the beginning of before the commencement of each class, and we will continue to do this. It's really helping for you to know where we stop. It's not just coming. It's not just piling ideas, information. It's a layer that we cannot mix up or forget where we stop, so that we don't have a wrong layer, in our brains. All right, we will start this morning on coding, qualitative analysis. We'll start on qualitative analysis. We
Sorry, sir.
Okay.
Sorry, sir. Yeah?
All right, please go ahead.
Triangulation.
Yes.
We did only the definition, which is the mixed methods research.
Okay.
I think that's where we stopped, sir.
Yes, I'm very much aware of that. I will see more into that.
Okay, sir.
That there, we did the definition and the two types we have under that. I remember we also touched that. Okay. Now we will see more into that as we unfold things unfold today. If you remember last week, I told you I have to jump the analysis to the mixed method design so that we we start from something that you actually understand very, very well, something relative to what happens, what is happening in our environment, especially with our friends from the law school. This is their area. Then we, and that's why we pick the mixed method too. And after the mixed method, we will talk about how do we code the mixed method. The triangulation is actually an aspect of the the types of the designs under the mixed method. And when we say we are triangulating, triangulation, has been on before the other types that we discussed, before the parallel, before the exploratory, explanatory, embedded, and complex methods, as we have mentioned. And if you remember, what is really why do we have to triangulate? It's a comparison. Triangulate, compare results, one result to the other, and we will say mention the types we have under each of the categories, two categories we mentioned last week. Okay, and how you can do this as things unfold. But before then, what is how do we analyze and why do we analyze? Let's discuss. Why do we analyze data? Then we talk about what is qualitative analysis. Can someone tell us why do we, if I have to gather your class, I mean data from the class now, uh, last time I checked the population of the class, we're just about 30 minus the teacher, maybe 29. Dr. Anokro, are you with us this morning? Okay, it's not available. So if I have to get the data for the class this morning, that okay, the population of the class this morning, we are, let me just check, we are, all right, we are just, okay, we have, the number has actually, has gone up to 40, that's 39, okay, minus the teacher, 39. So if I have to gather the class this morning that we are 39, then out of the 39, how can I use this number to better the lot of the class? That is the analysis we're talking about. So, class, why do we analyze data? What is the importance of data analysis? Can someone help us?
Yes, sir. Ogbonna Chidebere from Computer Science.
Okay, go ahead, please, Guna.
Yes, sir. We analyze data to understand, explore, discover the concepts or thoughts or the experiences of those individuals in that environment.
Thank you. We also analyze data to know the trends of event. Okay. For instance, now, okay, I'll give that person. Oh, let me allow you to say. You can say everything that is needed. All right. The next person, please, you have the floor.
Yes, sir. Good
Olupito
morning,
said
All
sir.
right, so good morning,
from
here.
nursing department.
Okay, let's take the nursing. We'll take. We actually will take all of you. I want
Oh,
more. I discovered that I want more discussion from you so that we don't forget things that we have learned. Okay,
Okay, this is Olupito from nursing department, sir.
go ahead, Olupito.
So, although we have various reasons why we analyze, but the main thing that make us to analyze is to provide an evidence for decision making in whatever we are doing, and also to discover the relationship, the similarity, and the difference in the data that we collected. Also, it's also used for hypotheses and so on. But the main thing is that we must know, we must have the evidence of decision making in whatever we are doing, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good. I like that. That I'll just pick one point from all the definitions you've given. If I want to make a decision now that my students in this class are poor students, can I just make that literally without having a data to support that class?
no.
No,
Okay.
you cannot.
No,
Uh-huh.
sir.
The
Because
decision
I say
making.
I have a slight comment on this. You
Okay.
know, because like you said, raw data themselves does not provide any information as much. Until analysis is done, we cannot draw any conclusion because it
Good.
offers that opportunity to draw conclusion inferences upon the raw data. Because raw data themselves doesn't mean anything. Thank you.
Good. We are still saying the same thing. Data, why do we, yeah, data, why do we analyze? Because we need, it cannot give us what we want. we need to take it to another level. And like Olupitan said, we need to prove. If I say students are poor, then it means I have evidence to show that they're actually poor. Maybe I have given them every knowledge, I have taught them, including personalization. When I say personalization after the class, I now take few people that identify that were not speaking. I now take them on a separate level, taught them again, and after teaching them, I still discover that they are not doing well. Then at that point, I have the right to say, oh, certain XY number of students are poor, relatively average students. Why? Because I have exhausted all methods of tutelage, and yet they are not coming up. When I make such comments, I'm not actually, I'm not segregating, I'm not looking down on them or discarding them that they cannot be good again. No, it's just a moment that they may be passing through. Okay, so that is what data, that is why we analyze data for decision making, for evidence of decision making. Do we have any other reasons? Otherwise, we move ahead beside what we have mentioned.
So I would say we analyze data also to make predictions and give recommendations based on the findings we've gotten.
Thank you so much, Dr. Winning. All right, let's look at qualitative data analysis here. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to upload. The regular student have it. It's close to 10 textbooks. If you want to read and read and read, there are enough by Creswell, Sultana, and the rest of them who are very vast in qualitative, research. And they are free books that you can read and also share with friends. So, when you are preparing your qualitative data, one of the things assignments we had is to get instruments for capturing qualitative data. Can we mention
Excuse
some of
me,
these
sir.
instruments? Yes.
Sir, please, you're not sharing your slide yet.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And thank you for reminding me. Um, on my side here, I thought I was sharing. Thank you for that. I hope the slide is visible now.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Thank you. Each time you are not comfortable with what I'm doing, just please do ask. I thought I'd shared here. Okay. I was
Hello, sir. I'm not sure. I'm not sure you shared this note, sir. But I don't
okay.
think I have it.
All right. Do remind me after the class. It's not. It's not a taboo. It's not something that you cannot have. You will have it, but I need to include it in my itinerary. Itineraries today, the content, the books, and equally the notes. I will do that on the Google Classroom. All right. Qualitative. I was trying to ask that what are the instruments we can use to collect qualitative data? Can we mention? That's why we had the assignment. It's not just for fun, because we will not teach it. There's no
Yes.
time to teach it. Quickly, mention the instrument.
Yes, sir. Okuna, we have the interview, we have a
Okay.
focus group, we have
Okay.
the case studies.
Okay.
We also have questionnaires.
Okay. Good.
Checklist.
Good.
Checklists.
Good. We also have checklists. Good. Any other thing? Okay, I think those are the basic points we have mentioned. And please keep them in your memory. We gave the assignment so that you can know. If you recall very well, we cannot cover 100% of what is required within the time given to us. 2 months is not sufficient to treat this. That's why we have to do so many assignments to be able to keep us on our toes. Please, someone's profile is actually unmuted. Let's mute it. Let's mute it. Okay. Thank you. So when you have collected that
Excuse me,
data,
sir.
yes.
Sorry for interrupting you, sir. Good morning, sir. Sadio Adenike, Nursing Department.
Okay. Go ahead.
Somebody mentioned questionnaire for qualitative data analysis. I want
No,
to
not
ask if is that
qualitative, not qualitative data analysis, qualitative data collection.
Data collection, I mean to say, sorry, sir.
Yes,
Somebody mentioned questionnaire.
yes,
Is that correct?
it is.
Okay.
Now, the difference
I
between,
thought
okay,
questionnaire is for quantitative.
no, both. Okay,
Okay.
can someone come up to differentiate between the structure of what the quantitative questionnaire would look like compared to the qualitative? Can someone just briefly, in a sentence, differentiate between the two types
Good
quickly?
morning, sir.
All right, sir.
This is
The
Adejumoke Dada
Thank
from
you,
nursing.
Adejumoke.
In terms of questionnaire for qualitative, it is the type of questions that will be there, the way the questions are structured. For the qualitative, it will be more of open-ended questions, while that of quantitative will be closed-ended.
Good. That's the word we want to hear from you, Madam Adenike. I hope you that is clear.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
So,
sir.
so you can have instrument, the same questionnaire. You can have questionnaire to measure quantitative. You can also have questionnaire to measure qualitative. When you are setting that of qualitative, you will not give options A, B, C, D. When you are giving options, I can't go outside the option. You are locking me to a particular key. But when you say feeling, express yourself as much as possible, and you can even uh, seek for extra papers. Have you filled some forms before, and they will tell you you are free to add additional papers if your content goes beyond the provided column, isn't it? For
Yes,
such,
sir.
for such is actually qualitative. They want more from you. They want you to tell them the story, how the story goes, and how the length of the story, because it's going to help them in their decision making. So thank you. Now we have seen reasons why we analyze. We have seen the instrument. Now, how do we analyze? We can actually analyze in two ways. Using the manual method, we can analyze the manual method, and we can also use software in our analysis. In using the software, we have the in vivo, which are in various versions, and we also have Atlas TI, which is another software. But before you can even use the software, there are some levels of categorization that you have to have done before you do that. Okay, so let's look at various manual processings that we'll have to take. Fortunately enough, or unfortunately, I don't have either of these software active. If I do, it's something that would have loved to to show. But I will see if I can get Atlas TI between now and next class. If we have it, then there's possibility of showing you a few things that existed there. The in vivo is better gotten through institutional process. It's quite expensive, but I will see. And if any of you have Atlas TI, do share with me. That can also be, I can also get that through my cloud, to my Google Drive, because it's a large file. If you do, please, I would like to have the information during the week so that I can show you how things go on with Atlas TI. So, what happens when you collect your data? You have to do a lot of work to ensure that the data actually are ready for analysis. And that's the first thing we say here, is that preparing and organizing the data, you have to prepare it, you have to describe um, the presentation of the data, then analyzing the data. When you are analyzing the data, there are different types of analysis that are done in qualitative data analysis, and we'll get to that as we move on in this lecture. Then once you have analyzed the data, then you can interpret the data. After interpretation, you conclude and you report the findings. And when you are reporting your findings, please report accurately. Also report reliably. Your report should be reliable, it should be accurate, then it should be coherent in your reporting. And also part of your reporting concept is what we call corroboration. how do you corroborate your report with other research? Your report shouldn't come, except on few occasions, as um, separate entities. It shouldn't come without having uh, links with previous research, and that is what we mean here. So when we are reporting here, you will report, you will explain, then you can then link your work to previous work that you have read, which you must read as a student, as an erudite scholar in that area who is preparing to know more. You must have a linkage with what has been done before. And of course, the validity and the reliability of your content matters a lot. So take note of this. All right. So we'll just move ahead. Further things that you also need to know in this when you are analyzing your data, as we have mentioned, when we talk about immersion, immerse yourself in the data. You have to be involved. In fact, most of the time, reading room, a whole room is dedicated for um, manual coding, where you have series of notes on the scoreboard, and you have to link them. No distractions. Um, if you have taken your, if you have recorded your information through a video you will watch. If it's actually audio, then you have to transcribe. And thank God there are softwares. The moment you record on audio, the software will at the same time transcribe to a written document that you can see and print out. And sometimes if you don't have the software that transcribe, then you would have to do that yourself. So you play back as frequently as possible to get your content, and that is why there is need for immersion in the data so that you can get exactly what each of your respondents have discussed that matters to the work. So reflecting, standing back, you need to. Then analyzing, dividing up, taking apart. You see that when you're analyzing, there's a bit of cut and paste, taking aback and selecting, filtering, classifying, categorizing. For those of you in computer, this is very essential. Classifications and all that takes place when you analyzing your data and you filtering. For those of you in data mining, you will have to take some data out and train further until the data falls exactly into the what I mean to your classifying stages that is required. Now let's go to number 4. You have to synthesize. Synthesizing in the sense that you would connect your point with what you have read before. And like I said, except on special occasions, is when your point will be standing aloof without having previous connectors. But it's very rare because it's possible but very rare. Okay, so you synthesize by recombing data with other researchers, then relating to the other work, locating data, and also you have to have what we call a reflecting back, returning for more details. If after analyzing what you have is not sufficient to back your objective, you have to go back and request for more, attention from your respondent until you get to the details of what feels like having. Okay, then finally you have a presentation, and when you're having a presentation, it's good for you to disseminate and share the findings before you report in an official manner. Reason behind this has been, discussed times and times again, that professionals in your field need to have this discussion. There are people who are really professionals in the field that you need to discuss this with in workshops, and they will make valid contributions to what you have done, even more than your course advisor or your supervisors. Sometimes you may not get the adequate or vibrant supervisors in the field of research, but you get a lot in conferences. And the COVID 19 has actually opened our mind to so many online conferences as low as $10. Just attend. You are not eating, you are not taking any of their documents. Some are even free. Okay, so take the advantage and synchronize with such conferences. Okay, and further to that, there are other areas that we can also group our data. This, when analyzing, we have this is actually having 10 ways of organizing and presenting data analysis. The first is talking about organizing or analyzing and presenting data by groups of people, by groups. So it can be by groups of people. Your data can be by individual people, and your data can be presented by issues or themes. So when you're analyzing your data, you can analyze your data by in groups of people, in groups, which means that you have actually interviewed focus group, and this is your presentation. Focus group 1, this is by group. Focus group 2, that's another group. Focus group 3, that's another group. Okay. Now, if you can also, depending on your objectives or the kind of data collection, it can also be by individual. Your interviews, majorly either physically or online, can be presented on individualistic purpose, and that is where number 2 comes into show, individual people. Now, many occasions we also have the third one, which is method of the types, which falls into the types of classification of our qualitative data by issues or themes or sub-themes. How do we find a themes? A themes is usually the headings of what we are working on, and the sub-themes are, uh, for instance, a theme could be, right now we have um, issues of fuel issue. What's the current challenges in the country now? Let's use that as a theme. Can someone remind us? Then we'll get a sub-theme from there.
Fuel problem, prices,
Housing, cost of wealth.
Okay.
fuel, transportation issue. The
So
money has gone up.
thank you. So I'm very, very correct. I'm also as updated as you are in terms of, so we can have contemporary issues that we are actually trying to find out. We are carrying out research on how the challenges has actually hindered a lot of economic situation in the country. So we have taken our themes as petroleum crisis within the country as a team. Then can we have a sub team? The sub teams we could have now is okay. Um, what about those who have been using gas? Are they having issue? So this can be a sub team of the petroleum prices, and we can also have a sub team on the, all that is still on the economic situation that is biting. So your sub team must be a subdivision, is a sub link to the major link. Please take note of that. Is a is a sub team to the major link. Okay. Now, having understood that, we go to the next one, which is number 4. You can also do your analysis by research question. Take them by the research question, one after the other. But the major mandatory thing is that your analysis cannot be open-ended. It has to be organized in any of this method. It has to be organized. Sometimes too, those of you who have passed through me in your when I read your work as a methodologist and you get to your chapter 3, I will call your attention back that your report has to be based on your research question. Research question 1, report 1. It has to be organized. Otherwise, those who are reading your work will get lost as to what you're actually collating together. Number 5, your data, your report or analysis can also be done by data collection instrument. If you have used multiple instruments, this is the time for you to do your analysis based on that instrument, which is very important. Then your data analysis can also be done if you have used multiple case studies. And by now you know what case studies or case study is all about. You have multiple case studies, Lagos teaching hospitals, Babcock teaching hospitals, universities of Ibadan, UCH, and so on and so forth. So your analysis can be on this. And also number 7, your analysis can also be by what? Narratives, if you actually on a narrative study. And your analysis can be done by events. You are working on so many events, you can categorize it based on event. Also, your analysis, if you are dealing with a time series capturing instrument, you can be on time series or time sequence or time frame collection process. And the last but not the least is that your analysis can also be done theoretically on by data on a theoretical perspective. So these are the various ways of organizing your data in terms of data analysis. So may I ask if you have questions here? Then we provide answers. Otherwise, I will assume that and believe with the assumption that you understand, yeah, that you understand these various stages that we have explained. Do we have questions? All contributions too is allowed.
Yes, sir. Ogbono Chidewere.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. So you mentioned that these are presentation procedures in terms of ways of organizing and presenting data as
Very well.
report finding. There's a word you mentioned, corroboration, which is about linking previous research, right? And just before this step, you mentioned concluding. So is synthesizing result and report finding on the same stage, or are these different things? Concluding, synthesizing result, and corroboration, which is presentation of your data.
Yeah, that was before this. This is this is the category categorizing our data. This is categorizing data. This is categorizing data, and it's part of the categorization process of our data analysis. Why this is actually the presentation mode that we can choose to go in terms of the categorizing our data. And in the categorizing stages, we have to go through all the stages. But in the presentation of data analysis, we cannot go through all this. What the selections that we go through is depending on our mood. For example, if you're on case studies, then you take case study alone. And if you have chosen to go with the issues and using a team classification of your qualitative data, then you go with number 3. So that is the difference between the categorization, which has to start from data gathering till reporting process. But in terms of the presentation stages, which we have data analysis there, we just have to pick one or two. Sometimes we have used more than an instrument, then we will have to have more than one process that we'll take. And that is the series of classifications that we have here in terms of presentation of our data. If you have used a theory and a time, and you are actually working on a time series, which is usually done in public health, microbiology, biochemistry, and the rest, then we have to go with that. Then for those of you in data and for data machine learning and all that, then I'm sure you have something that will also, back your process up here. Okay, I hope that is better, Mr. Chidebere.
Yes, sir. It's clear, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. Do we still have any other question? All right. Uh, just to let you know that as usual, we will have few minutes of break later when we are close to 10 o'clock. All right. So we have the next one is how do we transcribe? I have actually mentioned transcription later. I mean earlier in our discussion that you record. When you record, there are softwares that transcribe. Right now, someone is actually online trying to transcribe, which she has done before. She sent the link to me. To make some download for the class. I've not been able to do that. So you can contact her on a private level if you want this data, this discussion, this voice capturing to be transmitted to text, you can contact her. So the transcription we are talking about here is the conversion that takes place between voice or data to text or vice versa. But majorly is to text because we don't present audio output as our thesis report. We present data. Okay, so that is what we mean by transcription. So when we transcribe, what should happen? It say be completed as soon as possible after the interview. I will ask you a few questions here. So please pay attention. Your transcription should be completed as soon as possible after the interview is completed and field notes are expanded while the interview is still fresh. I think I've answered my question. Why should this be done as soon as possible? We are human beings. You are bound to forget some cogent and important points. So while it is still fresh in the mind, you have to do it as soon as possible. Not contain any identifying information for the participant. Okay, also be labeled with the participant's ID. All identifier in text should be what? Should be removed. Don't connect any information to any to individuals. Identifying, sometimes when you apply for a job, they ask you that it should be a blind application because it's a public service and they want everything to be fair and just because everything will be documented and archived for some people to come and evaluate the process of selection. So it should not be linked to individual. That's what we mean by all participants' ID should be what? Should be removed. Okay, so that's what we mean by transcription. If that is a question, you have the floor. Please do ask.
Yeah, just to be clear, sir, you said not labeled with participant's ID.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, meaning that if I have collected data from Chidiebere, I cannot put Chidiebere Ogbonna there. Rather, I can put CO. I can put AO. Nobody knows the meaning. And after all, I'm not going to give you the table of what CO and AB means. Or I can use participant A, participant B. It should not be linked to individual. Okay, people who have given you their information, you have signed their consent. You have signed a consent of confidentiality. Okay, so these are things that we should always keep in mind. Now, the next is debriefing. Debriefing takes place when we collect data or you have trained personnel to help you work in the field. There is need for you to debrief them on a daily basis. Okay, uh, why do we have to debrief? There are issues that are contemporaries that we need to solve. Okay, it helps the study team to identify and fix problems in the recruitment and interview process and helps to identify emerging patterns in the data as well. It also helps to identify and resolve any conflict or adverse incident which may occur promptly. So that is why at the end of every research outing, debriefing is quite mandatory and it's important for every group. Okay, it says each side should debrief after each interview day. This can be in person or online. Site coordinators should discuss with their team members and arrive at convenient time for this. Site coordinators we also have regular brief meetings with the coordinator center. For example, we have in Ilorin, PI, and other investigators. This is very, very important. Okay, so debriefing is we eliminate a lot of challenges that may occur. A very, very good one is sometimes we have ethical issues. When we mean ethical issues, if you are a female interviewer and sometimes you have some people making some passes, a boss you want to interview say okay, may tell you that okay, when you coming tomorrow, right, please just come alone. You want to get information, you get it, but make sure you come alone when you are coming to my office. You should know that that one is a very terrible um, gesture. And don't keep quiet. Please, you've been recruited by the researcher. Go back on the debriefing table and share that with the person who has actually recruited you, so that you know how to resolve that. And okay, So there are there are solutions to every situations in research. So the person who is the coordinator will know how to handle that, either by going with you there or by telling them that if that is the only way of getting data, the person can then hold on to that data and you go your way, and we got to get the data elsewhere where they will not you won't compromise your identity or your ethical issue to get data. So it's very important that we debrief every research. Now let's talk about content analysis. Content analysis is a method of data analysis, meaning that you analyze content that are available. By the way, there are three major process of getting content. Your content can be a primary content, can be a secondary content, and it can also be by the government. You can also get content as sourced by the government. Government have provided a particular content, so that's the third method. Initially, we were dealing our mind with two methods, which is the primary and secondary. I got to know recently this week that we also can have a third method, which is the data that can be sponsored by government or agencies around, apart from the ones that are in repositories, okay, which is the secondary. Okay, and I believe you know how to define these three data categories. The primary is the one that you get involved in collecting personally, and the secondary are the one that have been collected by someone, and you know, you are either paid or you have written a consent to extract from their repositories. And the other one is the one that government have actually have done, some agencies have done, that you have to either collect based on the fact that they are sponsoring the research, so they give you the data to use and so on and so forth. Sometimes you tend to also want to categorize that as a secondary, but I got to know that it's actually possible to have that separately. So, content analysis is defined as the process of summarizing and reporting written data, the main content of data and their messages. Okay, qualitative content analysis, as defined by Glaser and Ludell, defines a strict and systematic set of procedure for the rigorous analysis, examination, replication, inference, and verification of the content of written data, and supported by so many other researchers, as we have mentioned. So you want to do a content analysis, you want to evaluate what some people have collected over time and give a valid solution after the collection. That is what we mean by content analysis. And when we are dealing with content analysis, you are advised to follow these 6 stages in analyzing our content. Okay, the first is that choosing an appropriate sample of data that you want to work on. Break the data or text into smaller components, or we call units of analysis. You break it down, then you develop appropriate category for analyzing your data. Remember, we spoke about these categories earlier. Take the appropriate category, choose the appropriate category that you want to analyze the data. Then you code the unit to fit into the categories that you have actually chosen. It has to be coded in line with that. It has a procedure so that you don't present your data haphazardly. It has to be organized. Then after you have done that, then conducting frequency count of the occurrence of the unit of the data collected. Frequency count, if you remember your arithmetic, you have your frequency, how many times has this data occur, the number of frequencies should be indicated. Eventually, you collate that, and that gives you a point. I wish we have time. Would have given more assignment on for you to go to the field and analyze your data, uh, you know, here and there. But Even the regular people, we don't equally have enough time to go through this. How much more of the elongated? But these are things that you should be able to do. Collect data and see how you can combine, categorize your data, and so that and make valid decision from such. And the last here, but not the least, is analyzing the text from the basis of the unit of frequency and how they relate to other units in the text. I think one other thing that we can do for the upcoming set is that each of these stages we can actually have a, a temp a sample example which could be tailored towards a demo. Yeah, you can have a demo example on each, even if you don't have the time to go to the field. You can have a demo example to show students. That will help. That should also help a little bit. Now let's go to thematic data analysis. One of the categorization earlier was using a team. A team. If you have a team or you have a sub team, okay. So method of analyzing qualitative data, we can go by content. We can go by teams or by analyzing text content or analyzing multimedia content. Okay, and we'll see how we can see this. If you want to analyze content, what are the content? You want to analyze text, what are the text? And you want to go by the media, how do you do that? Okay, we see this as things unfold. So, a more specific concept of content analysis talks about systematic, replicable technique for expressing or compressing many words of text into fewer content. Do you hear that? Your respondent have spoken for 5 hours, and within these 5 hours, you just need not even up to a sentences per hour. You just need solutions will be that can be read within 5 minutes. So you need to compress. You need to get the cogent point, important point out of the discussion. Okay? Even though after getting the point, there may be room for you to expatiate the point. And when you are expatiating, other textbook will say storytelling. When you are telling giving stories about what you have summarized, your storytelling is not your own storytelling, but it's from the respondent themselves. You don't tell stories outside the data. Your stories you are telling should be within the data that you have collected. So, which is what we call a broader view. Okay, a broader view is any techniques for making inferences by objectivity and systematically identifying specific characteristics of the message that has been compressed as a specific view. So you need to do that for your content analysis. Now let's look at further categories of the content analysis. We talk about media. If you are you work with Mascom, they do this a lot. This matters to them a lot. They have this categorization for content, and also the lawyers too. You also have the same. You are talking about media content, then you can talk about um, a subcategory of the media content, which can be publications, broadcasting, websites, and others. When we're talking about publications, we're talking about books, journal, newspaper, brochures, and so on and so on. Then we have the broadcasting method or process that talks about the TV programs, radio programs, and other methods that are within the broadcasting process. Okay. Then we talk about websites. It talks about news site, web portal, organization website, blogs, and recently we have others as podcast. Those of you who are in tune with with media and content and computer terms, where we have only audios coming to you. Okay, we also have others. We can have films, music, photos, and we move from there to audience content. Audience content where we have text and multimedia. Multimedia is a combination of text and graphics together. Now, for the issue of text, here we talk about notes from interviews, focus group or what observations or diaries or surveys, text post on what social media. All these falls under the text content. And that of the multimedia, we talk about videos, audios, recording, or interviews, focus group observations, or user study, pictures, anything that it's a combination of that goes beyond text, that is showing graphics or images, will fall under the multimedia. All right. May I hear? Let's have few questions or contributions. Then I will know that the class is not sleeping at all. Do we have any question, class, or contribution? Are we? Am I still with the class, or have lost you?
We are with you,
Yeah,
sir.
Yes,
yeah,
yes, sir.
We are with you, sir.
we are with you,
We are
sir.
with you. We are
All
with
right.
you, sir.
I hope so. All right. Let's go ahead and talking about how do we prepare content, preparing for content analysis. When you're also preparing your content analysis, there's a need for you to define the data set. Data set has to be defined. Um, when you are defining your data set, yeah, we'll get to that on sample size of qualitative data. There is a note on that, but basically, your data set is defined based on saturation. That is a major concept. It's based on saturation, and more so too when you have a very small data, it's better to go with the entire population. But majorly is based on saturation. Until, and what do we mean by saturation? Until you are not getting further. When do you stop collecting data? When you are not getting new information, because you are not getting it from the same person. But when you are getting from this, Mr. A is telling you the story of Babcock, and he told you the story of Babcock comprehensively, and Mr. B actually told you another story of Babcock that is not in line with Mr. A, then you are getting an additional information. And by the time you get to Mr. F, you discover that Mr. F is just telling you what Mr. A has told you, and Mr. G is telling you what Mr. B has told you. Then it means you are not getting new information. At that point, you have to stop and consider the ones that gave you those previous information. Okay? So that is what we mean by data saturation. So you have to also define your population. And after defining up your population, you've collected your data, then you clean up the data. You clean up data for two reasons: for outliers or for empty data. Okay, empty in the sense that your data is people kept quiet, nobody was saying anything. You need to clean it up to fill up the gap. Then you also talk about outliers. Outliers, by the way, what are outliers? I don't want to give
Extreme
you the
value.
whole
Hello,
Extreme
sir.
value.
yes.
Adepoju, yes, sir.
Okay.
Outliers are those information that do not even fit into the purpose of the data collection that you are doing.
Okay, that does not fit into the categorization criteria that you have set, isn't it? Thank you. Do we have any other point? That is an outlier. An example is that you have asked people to give you data within the age of 5 to 10. And by the time you are recording, the person is introducing himself in another group that has been brought to you as a 55-old person. You know that that one is an outlier. You didn't request data from such group of people. Okay, if you go ahead analyzing that, that makes an error. That gives you an error in the output. Okay, so here we have the last one, which is understanding the context of the data. We must understand the context of our data here, and that helps. That's going to help us a lot when we understand the concept of our data in data analysis. That helps us a lot. Okay, so these are things that we we must understand in terms of content preparation. Okay, in addition to that too, we now, we've been talking about coding and the processes, they are just interwoven. And here is the definition coming, which we have, been able to define earlier. It's a process that involves assigning categories, description to blocks of text more than paraphrasing key word count. Do you hear that? That is coding. And in coding, we have some key elements such as identification of concept that we mentioned in the definition, and establishing what relation or relationships comes into process of coding. So these are things that happen in coding process that we must be able to appreciate. Now, when we are talking about, there are two different coding approaches. Um, we have the emergent coding and we have the a priori coding. The emergent coding are conducted without any theory. No theory is actually helping you. Imagine they are based on the information that you see. They are not based on theorems that are available. Okay. While the a priori coding involves the use of established theory, you have based your coding on theories, on hypotheses, to be able to identify the categories. These are the two types of coding approaches that we
Hello.
have. Yes, come on. Yes.
Showing again, sir.
All right. Go ahead. Miss. Hello.
Okay. Okay, it's showing now.
But at my own end here, something like 10 plus 41 is already blocking the what you are displaying, sir. I don't know what to do. I
You
can't
said
read it there. I'm
what is?
seeing light 10 plus 41.
Oh, I'm not the one sharing that.
Ah, no.
Unfortunately, I can't see your screen. That's the side of it. I can only see my screen. You are the one that should see mine, and I'm the only one that is allowed to share anything. Please don't share any content so that you don't block others. Okay? Can you see what I have now?
Yes,
Yes,
sir, we
sir.
can see.
Okay, so
We are
what you
seeing you,
do,
sir.
Madam Adepoju, is to refresh your page. The name you
Okay,
mentioned will
okay,
disappear. The lighter plus 41 will go away.
okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Just refresh your page. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So on the issue of theories with regards to a priori coding, it means that there are theories guiding your work that we are trying to follow. And it actually has a benefit because it works. Remember, theories and taxonomies we mentioned earlier. You want to build a new taxonomy on grounded theory. That was where it came. So when you are design a stage, you frame research questions around it, decide the kind of research questions or research approach, identify concepts and questions. Then on the analysis, you identify categories or coding items, then explain the findings around it. These are concepts that are very, very key. Then the coding the text. When you are coding the text, as we have mentioned, look for key items, ask questions about the data. You may have to go back to the field if the data you actually have recorded is not sufficient to give explanation to the research question. There's a need for you to return back and forth until finally you have a full question. And when do I was expecting people to ask, when do you load your data? All that we're talking about is just manual. Do you get the data into the system? The system can have various teams. I hope I would be able to. If I don't have the software, I will get a video for you to watch on how Atlas TI works, and that will help better the skill. You can have a tutorial, 30 minutes or less, on how Atlas TI works, and that will help us to see at what point do we transform our manual data classification into the software, and finally the software gives us what we need. But the joy of it is that the software do not actually do everything. There is a collaborative work between the researcher and the software. It is what you tell the software. Remember, it's just a computer. It's what you tell the software to do that the software will do. Okay, as if you feed the software with wrong data, you end up getting wrong results. So there is need for you for proper understanding of what you have to do. Okay, let's look at some example of statement to look for while coding, and most of the times we call these teams and subteams. For example, we have statements here where we have objectives, actions, outcomes, consequences, causes, context, and strategies. Let's take, for instance, the objectives here. Say use computers for educational purpose. That's an objective. Now, what is the action if you are using a computer for educational purpose? Enter a password or chat online. Then what are the outcomes? Either success or what? Failure. Whether the objective is achieved, that is the outcome. So when you set an objective, you must have an outcome and you must have an action, meaning that what should the person or the students do? Then you have consequences of the outcomes. Files intentionally deleted, a specific application abandoned, etc. Then you have courses, limited memory, dated what equipment, context, user is computer savvy or not, user works with what classified information. Then we have strategies, avoid specific tasks, multimodal interaction. These are various concepts that we come across, and let's look at um, the ones that will give us a subteam. I think we have seen a subteam. Let's ask a question. Ask question about the data too. When you have sensitive question to better understand the data, you can ask question as what is happening to the data, and you can equally give explanation to your data. What did the user click? Excuse me. And theoretical question such as help and theoretical questions help make connections between concepts and categories. Okay, such questions could come in form of what is the relationship between the two factors, or better still, how does the interaction change over time? These are relationship factors when you are using theoretical questions that could help. And you can also make comparison on the same. Remember on a priori, which has to do with theories, um, between make comparison between different coding categories, between different participant groups or group, or between existing data and previous literature. You have to make comparison, and this has to do with synthesizing your content when you are writing your report. After giving the record, you need to tell the stories of what happened. Okay, this is was an assignment given to the student in the last class before now. You may know you are not to submit this, but it's good for you to go and read this. I'm going to give you the textbooks today. Say read and summarize the 5 qualitative research as discussed by John Creswell, including their types. List one question per discussion for each type of research. Explain the procedure for conducting each research. Summarize one example each for the types of study as mentioned in the book. Your answer should not be more than 5 pages. Please make sure that your expressions and explanations are explicitly clear. One thing about qualitative data, when I started qualitative study years ago, uh, I did that. I came from uh, mathematics section, so the first two classes I did, I was getting below average. And you ask me why? Because I wasn't a storytelling person. I was always brief in my answer. And I went to meet the tutor, the teacher, and he told me that I need to think, I need to be expressive enough, I need to be able to write fictions Things that you don't even that doesn't happen, you need to write it. You need to imagine your imagination. You need to bring it on paper. And the moment he told me that, in fact, throughout my transcript, I began to have to hit 100% because I was now willing to write from mathematics, uh, uh, department. When I say mathematics, computer science, software engineering is more of mathematical calculation, which we all enjoy, those of us who are there. From that level to a storytelling person. So that is what qualitative research is all about. It's a research that wants. It's not something you can copy and paste. To, by the way, you cannot use ChatGPT for qualitative research. It has to be what were your encounter with the researcher, and you should be able to tell the full story as it is. Okay, and when you are done, please always share the report with the respondent so that they will be sure that you have not contravened their agreement you have, and also added things that are not supposed to be added. Otherwise, you will be sued if you publish content without allowing the respondents to go through the content. You must share the content with the community before you publish. All right, I think this is where we'll stop um, on the coding of the qualitative data. May I ask questions or contributions before we go into validity and reliability of qualitative data? Any questions or contributions from the audience? This is the time. Hello, class.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Any
sir, can
any question? All right. Since there's no question, we'll just move ahead. We'll move ahead. Okay. We'll move ahead on our. We'll move ahead with the validity of what we are studying. How do we validate our record? How do we validate our record? Okay. And that is what we want to discuss right now. When we talk about content validity, can someone share with us what we mean by validity in terms of qualitative data? Anybody?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm very sorry. I've forgotten that you cannot see my hand. I was trying to answer ask the question
Please go
on
ahead, Madam
risk.
Madenike. Don't worry
All
about
right,
it.
thank you, sir. I really want to know, how do we determine the most appropriate qualitative approach? Maybe e.g. phenomenology, ground theory, ethnography for a particular study.
Okay. Do you have a question in mind you'd like to share with us? That will help us. Share a question, then we'll tell you what it is.
Okay, for instance, if I want to know the outcome of
All right. Just
educational.
okay. While you are talking, class, permit me to exit my screen. Let me see how I can get few questions together. Then we determine. Well, I'm not saying that you should not talk. Keep talking, while I also work on my side to see what I can do to get some question across to you. Then we'll classify where they belong to. I hope is that clear, everybody?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Please
Yes, sir.
keep your discussion going, Madam Marinike. Keep talking, please.
Yes, I was going to look at, let's say I want to write on outcome of educational intervention on knowledge prevention and management of um, compassion fatigue among nurses in selected teaching hospital in Nigeria. And I want to use a qualitative approach.
For factors again.
I want to look at the outcome of educational intervention
Okay.
on knowledge, prevention, and management of compassion fatigue.
Hmm. This is actually from what you have mentioned now. This is actually
sir.
an experiment. It's an experimenting design, not qualitative. And from the question, you have not also combined. There's no combined. It's not a multiple design. It's
Yes,
not a
I'm looking
mixed
at,
method.
from what you have just said, taught us now, sir. I'm looking at the feasibility of using a mixed method for this research.
You didn't mention the question. The topic was not captioned as a mixed method question. However, you can actually rephrase that is going to show as a mixed method. Do you know that you can do that?
I know that I can do that, but now my question, I'm going to still ask another question, sir. If you are doing a mixed method, does your topic, your research topic, does it need to capture that is a mixed method you are using?
Yes, it has to.
Oh,
Yes.
okay,
It has to.
all
It
right,
has to capture that
that's
because
that's
what
clear.
you just gave us now is purely intervention quantitative.
I was looking at quasi experimental.
Yeah, find out. That's another one. Your title may not be able to go to that level. Your topic, right to say, may not be able to give us the clarity of either quasi or direct experiment until you get to the mode of data collections and what you want to design. That's when we have to get to that level. But on a more realistic point, what you can get from the title is actually if it's experimental or non-experimental. And if you are talking about mixed method, you can also get it from the title. And sometimes too, you get the direction of your qualitative from the title. Not all the time, but most of the time you get the direction. Just give me a minute or so. Do we have any other question?
No, for now, I just want to know when we can actually say this is qualitative research that we want to do.
Okay. Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions or contributions from the house on how to get qualitative, how to determine the research approach when we have a question? Anybody?
I have a question, sir.
All right, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So on the types of research design, I noticed that the fifth one, which is narrative research, and the phenomenological research, both have to do with lived experience and personal accounts of individuals. So if you have a case study, for instance, maybe collecting student stories about their academic journey, that cuts across both the narrative and also the lived experience. How do you determine the research type for qualitative to use in such case?
Come again with your question, please.
Yes, sir. I'm saying that the types of research, we have narrative research as the fifth one, and then phenomenological as the first one. So if we
Yeah.
look at the two types, we have lived experience correlating across these two. Like both of them have to do with the lived experience of the participants, personal accounts. So I'm saying that if you have a case study that cuts across the lived experience, how do you determine best which to use? Since both are dealing with lived experiences. For instance, we're collecting student stories about their academic journey. You were talking about their lived experience through their student life. So how do you determine the best research to use in such cases?
Okay, can the class answer that? Can we answer that, class? How do you determine? Okay, I think Mr. Chidebere, what you are getting together here has to do with live. When you talk about live experiences, you went through a particular study and you overcame the barriers involved and you succeeded, or yeah, you passed, and then you can tell the stories. That's what live experience is all about. While on the other side, you have what we call the narrative. Narrative is narration of an incident too. That's very tricky there. Narrative is very close. Narration, or you remember when we studied narration, it was actually narration and what? Do you remember, Mr. Chidebere?
Yes, I'm
Okay,
checking, sir.
I guess as much. You see,
It was narration and historical research.
yes, narration has to do with history. History, not, is different from narration. Is you can read and narrate to us. It's not something you witness, but a witnessing evidence is something that you were involved with. Okay, and you should be able to tell us better how it's all went. Something you were involved with. So it's a different concept. An academic rigor or exercise that you went through will, be better told because you were involved in it. But your parent told you that, oh, I was always the best in my class, and there were evidences to show for it, results and all that. And you sample this result, you saw this result, you know you saw this result. It's not just mere stories. You saw this result on, probably in the archive at home. So you can say, yes, my parents were intelligent students while they were in school or while they were studying. It's quite different from a parent who wanted their words to actually read hard and do less of play. And each time they keep telling the children that I was the best in my set. And someday, when the father was actually approaching from work, and he still met these children playing and laughing, and he said, I've always told you to read and all that. And before he finished, there was a very poor result on the floor. And he said, see, whose result is this again, as bad as this? And the children looked at their father's, face with discouragement and disappointment. And he said, Daddy, the result is actually yours. And you know what? They saw there? Failures, failures, F, 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 F. Meaning that the stories the father was telling them was never translated on paper. So what I'm trying to say here is that evidence of what you see is not the same thing as of what you are telling. It's not the same thing as a witness. A witness gives us what? A live experience, because you went through it, and you will tell us the rigors that you took to eventually have come up with the result you have. I hope you are clear with this, Mr. Chidebere.
Yes, sir. I remember that day you said, "What I know, not what I saw."
Good.
You also emphasize that it's based on documentation of facts. Yes.
Yes,
So it's
yes.
clear now. Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. What I know, that's it. Sometimes you teach, the knowledge that comes from you is not constant. You may not be able to recall again. Like, I just remember this now when you said it's not something that was written down. Thank you. All right, let's look at. I hope you can see the screen back.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay, I just pulled this question. I just pulled this from a social from an AI agent. I asked the AI to help me with few topics of possibilities of few topics that I can analyze or we can analyze and give examples of where it belongs to. So I've removed the solution so that we don't I'm not giving you a heads up of what you should think about, but I want you to challenge the brain so that we get result out. Impact of social media on students' academic performance. Ladies and gentlemen, what would you suggest to be the research design for this first one? Or what are the possibilities of this kind of design? What do you how do you think you can handle this? All right, don't answer the question. When we come back, let's go on a break for a few minutes. When we come back, we give solutions to this, and from there we will move up. We move ahead. I hope this is okay, everybody. Hello, am I still
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
all right? So
Yes, sir.
I'm going
Yes,
to
sir. Yeah.
so let's have a few minutes break, 7 minutes break, and let's be back to continue from here. Thank you so much. I'm going to pause the recording now while when we return, we continue from there. All right, I hope we are back from our short break. Everyone, can you hear me? All right, I didn't know I was muted. Can you hear me now? I hope we are back.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Prof.
Welcome.
All right, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Welcome back.
We need to give answers to the first one here is talking about impact of social media on students' academic performance. Factors in okay, let's talk about that. What are the possibilities of that research? Hello class, how do you think we can do this design, the possibility of the first design? Those of you in computer science, can we speak?
Oh, yes, sir. Ogbonachi is here.
Okay.
The first question has to do with the impact of social media on students' performance.
Sir, we can't
All
see
right.
the screen, sir.
The design we'll be suggesting is to see a relationship between the students' social media and the performance. So it will be a versus kind of situation. We call it correlational research design. We measure the time spent on social media versus their CGPA. So that would be correlational research design.
Yeah, I think okay.
Sorry, sir. Your presentation is not being aired. We can't see it.
You can't see the screen for the question,
The
sir.
screen for the question, sir.
Okay, sorry, I will share that shortly. Just give me a minute. Yes, we can see your screen. Okay, can you say this now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So can we speak on number one?
Sir, let me try, sir. Lawa
And
Jemilat
that's why you are in class.
from nursing department.
Okay.
Sir, if to approach attempt this question one, my research design, I will look at applying a mixed method for the design, sir. Because I'm looking at it, I can actually approach it is a qualitative exploratory research. Yes, qualitative exploratory research. So I will use a mixed method to address this.
Okay. Mixed method of what and what?
That is a qualitative and qualitative exploratory research study. Yes. So if I'm to the sample, if I want to select my sample size, yes, I will use a convenient method, or I will stratify because the population may be too large. So I'm going to do a stratify random sampling technique to get my actual study sample.
All right. I will just give you something to lean on shortly.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I, I'm giving the.
Mixed method, sir.
Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
If you see your suggestion earlier, the first one is actually a mixed method, impact of social media on students. It can be done on mixed mode, as we have here. Mixed mode in the sense that you're looking for impact of social media on students' academic performance. How can you do this? Quantitatively, if you want to do this, you want to do this, you can test their score. Then how frequent do they use this? Time spent online. So if you look at this method of collecting data, what design would you suggest? I want an answer. Yes, I've given you the solution. It's a quantitative,
Sorry, sir. Repeat
approach.
the
What
question
design?
again, sir.
I have given you the quantitative approach. What design would this be?
Sir, it's mixed method, sir.
Hello, madam. I'm not
He said it's
specifically.
quantitative.
I'm not specifically open to you. I'm talking to the class, so don't be. You're not on a hot seat. I have given you that solution that is a mixed method, and I've given you that is quantitative. Now, under quantitative, there are different designs. Looking at this, a survey would do this appropriately. A survey would do this. And if you want to be more specific, a cross-sectional will do this. Standing at a point and of data
Yes, like a
collection will do this. That's what I want from you. Now, let's go to the second one. It's interview on students' habit, perception, motivation. We do this. What kind of qualitative design will do this?
A questionnaire.
So that's
Sir,
instrument.
a
answer.
cross functional survey can also do it, sir.
Hello, I'm talking about qualitative approach. And we have gone through 5 different designs under qualitative. If I should give you this as a test now, nobody has answered any question rightly. Interview on students' habit, perception, motivation. What kind of design under the qualitative would capture this? Any answer?
The phenomenological.
No, it's not lived experience. Sir,
Hello?
case studies.
Is your guy Fidelis in class? Fidelis,
I'm here, Prof. I'm just thinking. I'm struggling with my head.
I've not heard your voice for more than 30 minutes.
I'm here. I'm following.
Adenike, what do you think
Sir,
about this?
okay.
Winnie, everybody, what do you think about this?
Cross-sectional design, sir.
For the quantitative.
We have answered that. We are moved to the next
For the
one, which is
quantitative.
qualitative, that deals with interview on students' habit and perception and motivation. We're not talking about the design in question. What will it be?
Sir, case studies.
Okay, that's true. Case study will handle this,
How
but
about
we can.
survey, sir?
No, you. This woman. You are you in class?
Yes, sir.
No, you're wrong. We are not on quantitative. We are on qualitative. Okay.
Oh, for qualitative.
We
Okay,
are
sir.
talking about qualitative, and someone has
What
answered
what
rightly.
what of phenomenology, sir?
Yeah.
Asking the students in-depth interview to tell us what they feel about the impact of the social media on their performance academically.
I think
Phenomenal
questionnaire too.
phenomenology will not answer this.
So I think questionnaire can work here.
Questionnaire is not a design. Ṣé mo ti mute ara mi?
Good
No, we can use
morning.
questionnaire to collect qualitative responses and then analyze them thematically.
That's more or less like case study.
So, Mr. Fidelis, design is like a plan or how you plan to carry out that research. So, you are mentioning instruments, which is the type of tool you are going to use. So, that's are two different questions.
I think the best approach here should be case study, or maybe even a narrative research.
I
Yeah.
think the best approach will be phenomenology because you want to explore the lived experiences of students regarding factors influencing the adoption of e-learning platforms.
No, we're talking about number one. We have not even gone to number two. The first one is case study. Now let's move to number two.
Oh,
Factors influencing adoption of e-learning platform. The first one is quantitative, survey measuring usage rate, satisfaction, costs, and all that. Cross cross sectional can also handle that. Adoption of factors influencing the adoption of e-learning. So, can someone tell me
Sir, we can use a descriptive cross-section. Sir, for that number two, sir, under the qualitative section, sir, we can do a survey there.
All right. I think I know what to do. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to drop this. I'm going to drop this on your platform. Think about the solution. I'm going to post. Um, I'm going to drop this, which I have dropped. I will. You think about the answer. I will create a pool at the end of the day to see where you belong to. I think that's the way out. I hope you understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir, we understand. But sir,
Yes.
this is still task. But I just need um maybe a kind of um identificational hint that when you see a topic, immediately you know whether this is qualitative or quantitative and the type you are going to be using. That's the issue I have now. Any topic at all that just comes and you just look at it and say, okay, this is the type of design we're going to use. What are the things we'll be looking out for to be able to identify this?
Yes, and that is the training. It's I was
Yeah.
expecting
Research gurus.
I was expecting answers from you, but it wasn't forthcoming on what I have given. Okay.
Yes, sir. I think to respond to that, when you see the word factors, I'm thinking it's drawing us closer to case study, like factors influencing adoption. For instance, we're looking at a specific case study, and I think that's easier to understand. So that same approach we can also apply it in other references of case studies.
Very good.
Would
That's
you
true.
say this is absolute? Because some other schools of thought will tell you that when you are looking at factors, you are looking at it as a quantitative research design, and then maybe descriptive.
Yes.
That's why I'm saying that is it absolute? Because you cannot say categorically that wherever you see factors, you are basically going for your choice.
Yes, you're right. But that is not constant. It is dynamic. That is one way. We have other ways there. Also, factors there can be, attributed to a phenomenological study of someone who had finished is now asking for factors and can tell us his own factor. So you can decide to go through that route after when you're talking about qualitative design. So the
In that
qualitative
case,
could be a case study, could be phenomenology if someone is telling you the story from that perspective. For the quantitative mode too, it could be a cross-sectional survey. Okay, looking at those factors. So these are issues that you need to consider. For the third one, customer satisfaction with online shopping services. This customer satisfaction, what kind of quantitative design would this be? Taking
With
those into
satisfaction is phenomenology.
we are talking about quantitative first. Can you see
Okay.
my screen, madam? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so we always start with quantitative before the other one. So quantitative, which design would you use, madam? Adepoju. Nobody? Any other person?
Cross-sectional, sir.
Okay. What of
Then for
out of
the
qualitative?
qualitative narratives,
Okay, good. Narrative will work. That's good. Now let's go to the next one. Effect of work, place, stress on employee productivity. The nurses should be able to answer this now. What quantitative approach or design would this take? Hmm? What quantitative design would this place? Because we have identified the approach, which is quantitative, but the designer is what?
So I think this design should be explanatory.
Yeah, you're talking about qualitative now. We want to talk about quantitative first. And if you are talking about explanatory, then you are saying you want to do mixed mode. And we are not even bringing that up here, which is possible anyway. It's possible. Very well. I agree with you. It's possible. That's the third approach. Okay. And the fifth one, community perception. Community perception of renewable energy products. How do you think we want to handle this quantitatively? Which design would carry this?
Yeah, we can use a descriptive survey for quantitative. Qualitative, we're talking about ethnography. This is about community, a group of people, ethnography.
Hmm. No, ethnography, we are talking about the life of people. This has not perception of renewable energy project. Community perception. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, it's possible. If you know how to coin that very well, it's possible. But it means
Yeah.
you're not, if you know how to
Use
coin that, it's
descriptive and
possible.
interview.
All right, so think more on this. And because you are not answering this very well, you should go and read more. I will make sure that my quizzes next week centralize more on these type of questions. Thank you. Let's continue. The questions have been dropped on your WhatsApp to work more on this. So I asked some question earlier. Why do we have to validate before a question came on that? Why do we have to validate our instrument? Can anybody speak? Yes, you have the floor.
Ah,
yes,
we
sir.
need to validate this. We need to validate questionnaires if when we are sure we need to be sure whether that questionnaire actually measures what we intend to measure based on the topic and the areas to be investigated and examined um, by the researcher. So the appropriateness of the
Okay, thank you so much.
that
That's true.
by the research question and
That's true. Can somebody else speak again?
Yes, sir, Ogbona.
Okay.
So the validity and reliability usually go hand in hand because you're trying to establish if the findings came from the data you're working with and if they use appropriate process. The findings will answer if the findings actually answer provide answers to all the research questions you have done, and if they are also consistent with what is like the standard. So validity has to do with the appropriate process and then making sure that the findings are coming from the data you are specifying there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chidebere.
Hello, sir.
Validity, yes,
Hello, sir.
yes, sir.
Yeah, so the validity in validity, because I think I did something like in my master's. So validity is actually showing that the what we tend to achieve, what we tend to measure, that the out the what the data that you have is actually giving you the result consistent with what we're trying to measure. Whereas reliability in this case is looking at consistency over time, over the entire sample. That this thing is consistent. How did I achieve that? So what I did then was, first I took a small sample, administered those questionnaires to them, analyze the result. After some time, analyze same question, send the same question to them again to see if both their results were consistent. So that one allowed me to know that the information that I have was consistent across, so that it can be relied upon before I now proceed to deliver those questions to a wider range of samples of people. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Fidelis. You have actually given us the solution to the quantitative analysis of validity and reliability. We're talking about qualitative now. Let's concentrate on qualitative so that you don't mix it up. But that's actually works for quantitative, and there are quite just a slight difference because on the quantitative we use statistical method for the validity, for the reliability. But here we use something else. So let's concentrate here before we move to the other side so that we don't mix it up. Validity. I want to validate what you are telling me. Is it truthful? Are you truthful in your statement? How trustworthy? If a child is trustworthy, then sometimes there's no need to validate what that child has said. Is a child of God, he will never lie. And if somebody now met you outside and say, this your child lied, then you know that's not your child because you have validated her words several times that she is always trustworthy. That is what I mean by validity. Then the other concept is reliability, which some of us have answered well. Chidebere gave a glimpse of that. How reliable is your result over time? How reliable is your point? That is it. All right. So that is what we mean by reliability. So let's look at some concept of validity in. Let's talk about the concept of validity in qualitative research and the types. Okay. Let's look at the types of validity in qualitative research. First, we talk about credibility. 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 How credible is your findings? How credible is your findings? That's what we should know. Okay? They say ensure the findings are believable and authentic. Like I said, someone who is a child of God, who doesn't lie, and you know that the word is credible. Then the next one is transferability, the extent to which the findings can be applied to other text or group. That is what we mean by transferability. So we can measure our research validity by credibility, transferability, linking what you have with what you have taken. Then you know that this actually means the same thing. Then dependability. Your method, can you depend on it? The instrument, can you depend on it? We're talking about instrument now. Can you depend on it? Yes, that's the method. Ensure findings are consistent and replicable. It means when you do it again, it will produce the same results, provided that the environment is what? Is the same. Then the another method is conformability. Ensures the research findings are shaped by the participant rather than researchers' bias, meaning that you don't have a stake in the solution. It is confirmed by the research findings, not you bringing your result into stake. Okay, these are a few methods of the validation under what now? Under the validity. Now let's talk about reliability. If we understand that, how reliable? Reliability in qualitative research refers to the consistency, like Brother Fidelis mentioned, but I want us to tune our consistency now to a qualitative research. Consistency and dependability of the study findings. Does it change over time if you change the environment? If the answer is no, then that is it is reliable. But if it's not, then it means it is not reliable. And we have some types too here of the reliability that we must consider. Okay, types of you know types of reliability in qualitative research. We have the first one, which is almost repeating the other concept of validity, dependability. Are you dependable? Is the result dependable? It says similar to reliability in quantitative research. It focuses on whether the research process is logical, traceable, and documented. These are things that we must consider. Okay? These are things that we must consider. Are they in that order? We must be very careful to ensure that this actually takes place. And the next one is intercoder reliability. When multiple researchers analyze the same data, Chidebere comes, Fideli comes, and I give Winnie comes, Adenike comes, and that is what we mean by doing the same thing and we are getting the same result. That is what we mean by intercoder reliability. And the next is stability. Ensures findings remain what? Consistent over time.
Consistent over time.
Hmm? If similar research is what? Conducted,
Being
the same
conducted.
environment, the same temperature, it should be consistent. Then it will be stable. And that is very, very close to consistency. Maintaining coherence of data collection, analysis, and interpretation. And the last one is trustworthiness. That combines credibility, transferability together, and confirmability gives you what? Trustworthiness. If you follow all those processes, then it means your result is up. It's trustworthy. Okay? Do you have contributions? Any contribution? Madam Madipoju, can you mute this? All right. You can ask your questions now if you have any question. You don't need to cram all this. It's all about understanding the point. And when you are writing, then you need to tell your readers method, what method have you chosen? Okay? What method have you chosen? Okay? It should have to, indicate that. Okay, I saw a hand pop up. Can you tell us what you want to ask or what you have for us?
Okay. Uh, my name is David.
Your network is actually cranky. Can
Gila
you, hello,
from
if can you please change your environment, David? We can hear you. Uh-oh.
hello. Hello, sir.
Mr.
Hello.
David, Mr. David, we can't hear you. It's better now. You can now start all over, please. Mr. David, can you hear us? Okay, I think we lost him. All right, let's go to So let's go to another process, which is method of measurement. The first one is measuring validity. Validity. We have also talked about number of method, which is under the first one, method of validity. We have talked about credibility, and the next one we're going to talk about. Remember, we started with types of validity. These are types, not method. Types of validity. Okay, which is credibility, transferability, dependability, and what? Conformability. Four. Then under the reliability too, we also have types that can be adopted, and we have five here. Okay, as you have mentioned. So let's go to how do we now measure validity? How do we measure validity? And let's look at the method of measuring or establishing validity. We have mentioned its credibility, similar to internal validity in quantitative research. Triangulation, we use so many methods and we compare. If the results are not the same, then it means there's something wrong. That is credibility. Then member checking, you can ask member to check for the result over time. Asking participants to review and verify the accuracy. You ask those who are qualified, not those who are not qualified. Then prolong engagement, spending sufficient time in the field to build trust among the participants will generate the result. Then peer briefing. I think we have explained about briefing earlier. Peer briefing is a categorizing group to be able to get the results from them. That's discussing findings with other researchers to ensure that objectives are what are met. Meaning that you can meet colleagues and say, "This is what I'm doing. Is this result authentic? Have I followed the right procedure? Oh, you have missed out something. You should have taken this step, taken that step." That's what we call peer briefing. Then there's another method of reflexibility. Researchers keep journals to reflect on their own bias and how they may influence the research. This is very, very important. Please ensure that in terms of your validity, don't allow your bias to manipulate. Bracketing should not take place in your research. Take note of this, very important. Okay. Then the other method is we've just seen one, which is credibility. Method is credibility, and under the credibility method, we have mentioned five methods. The, the next one is transferability. Transferability. On transferability is similar to external validity that talks about what? The first one, you can use under the transferability, thick description. Thick, when you say thick, providing rich context, detailed prescription, not just browsing the surface. It has to be done expressingly well. If you want to publish your results in the public, you need to ensure that all these stages are exposed. This is one of the things that the publishers want to see if you have been credible in your collection of data. Okay? So dependability is another method which we have explained earlier. And on the dependability concept, you talk about the audit trail. Audit trail, code recode strategy. Audit trail is done by keeping detailed record of the research process. Audit, when you say audit process, the auditors in the house will understand what I'm going, especially those who are inputting and auditing together. Every stages has to be iterated, has to be mentioned. You don't jump stages. Then you also talk about code recode strategy. Those of you who write code, not the waterfall model, coding the data initially, taking a break, and then coding it again and again to ensure that your result will never change. That is what we call code recode strategy. And the next one is what we call which is the last one here, conformability, similar to objectivity in quantitative research. Audit trail is part of it, triangulation, and also reflexibility under conformability. So these are all the measures in validity process that we can take to validate our qualitative research. Do we have questions before we go into the method of reliability? Any question?
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Winnie,
Okay.
my question is on member checking. Based on the description of member checking, the participants will be the ones um, to interpret the data or something thereabout. So is it that the participants will have to be debriefed on what to do before this is thrown to them for the assessment?
Well, in order to avoid bias, it's better you don't even tell them. Okay, because if you do, they already have intention of what you want and they will dance to your tune. So, member checking, for example, if they are your colleagues, they will tell you the truth. But if they are participants, please don't tell them the truth. I mean, don't tell them the objective. They will walk, they will walk along your objective and give you what you want. But for your colleagues, they will be truthful. They will be fair with you. I don't know if you understand, Dr. Winnie.
Yes, I understand, but how are we sure then that the information, the results we are going to get actually will will be credible?
Yes, you collate all the data. It's just like you want to go into the field to validate your instrument, and you have taken 10 respondents out of 100 because you want to have a test of how it looks like. So you don't tell people this is just a trial research. If you do, they will give you a trial result. Just tell them you are doing a research and this is the consent. Do you agree? They agree, and they will give you exactly what they want. So the same thing goes to those in the field too. You are doing a research to validate this. Okay, you don't tell them the objective, so they will you just need their honest report, and that's all you have to tell them, not more than that. I don't know if
All
that
right.
satisfies the curiosity.
Yes, sir. It's taken care of. Thank
But
you,
if you go to the point of sharing your objectives with them, then you're in big trouble.
sir. Okay.
Your colleagues can know your objective, okay, and they will be if they are good researchers. I personally, I will be honest with you when I read your work. I will tell you this thing will not fly, no matter how the kind of relationship I have with you, the kind of
Mm-hmm.
friendship I have with you. I will tell you, my friend, if you do this, you mess up yourself. Do this, go and read this book and correct this. Okay, but society issues may not allow your respondent to answer if you give them the details of what you are going through. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Do you have any other question, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes, sir. I have a one question.
Okay.
Uh, Ogbona. Sir,
Go ahead, please, Obuna. All right, I think we lost him.
Okay. Adepoju, yes, sir.
Go ahead, Madam Adequate.
Thank you, sir. I think I'm learning new things today, oh,
Yeah.
because my knowledge of validity and reliability was, in line with what was first said, that like content value, I mean content, the instrument should have the correct things that we want to measure, then the reliability using it often and often to make sure that it measures what it's supposed to measure. But
Yes.
all this new validity and reliability in qualitative now
Method.
is a new thing to me. So I will
Yes,
have to
that is
go
why
back.
that's why you register for the course, madam. If you knew
Now,
this, you stay in your house, isn't it?
and please, sir, is this my former answer going to affect my the scoring in my test? That, I mean, the what you gave practical, the number four that you gave us before on validity and reliability, because I didn't mention all this dependability, member checking, and these new ones that you just told us now.
I've not done a test with you. I don't understand what you
I
mean.
mean, the assignment, the assignment. Ah,
Madam,
there's a lot of difference. Oh,
don't
Kai.
worry.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
The more I attend this class, the more I get scared.
don't get scared.
There are too many concepts in this course that somebody need to know, and the time is short. And these concepts are so important that we have to just know them. I don't know how I'm going to do it. That is just my fear.
Okay. Fidelis, don't be scared. I'm just sharing the note with you as I speak with the class.
Okay, sir.
WhatsApp. You need to read. There is nothing than to what? There's no solution than to read and study. Are we together, gentlemen and ladies? Madam, are you
Yes,
there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm here, sir. Ah,
There's no end to study. Okay?
I'm praying for wisdom to understand, though.
Good.
hey.
That's good. That's another wonderful wisdom from a good lady there.
Hmm.
And honestly, sir, I think this 2 months tranche, sir, is not really measuring. It's not really measuring at all. I think they should be.
Who
Yeah, I
invited
don't
you
know.
to register for the 2 months?
It's because we are working.
And
If we
then
do not work, how do we pay school fees? But I don't think this duration is enough to, if we really want to understand this thing and do very well. This is research, and
tell
research
your
seems to be the order of the day now. I
good.
don't. This time
Tell
duration
your
of this
husband
thing is
tell
still
your
short.
husband to take the bill for the next 2 years that you want to study. Come regular. We are taking 4 months for what we are taking for 2 months.
Honestly, two this thing, and every Sunday for that matter, it's not even like maybe no.
The only solution is to tell your husband to take the bill and you drop from work or you take a leave of absence for 2 years. I've dropped a note with you, gentlemen and
And
ladies.
they are not even granting leave. That is the issue. Even granting me this part time was a problem. They are not even granting. That's where the issue lies.
Okay, sorry about it, Lawal. Sorry.
Honestly, I don't. I'm not too happy with it.
Yeah, sorry, you need to read. If I tell you the number of times I am on the system reading, you would think that is this man writing exam. I slept 12 this morning, and here by this time I'm up. And you know that the difference in timing with where I am, with where you are. So which means I'm a hour, behind you. Means I've woken up before you did. So I'm not complaining. So please, Madam Lawal, you need to know, you need to pass, you need to study, you need to acknowledge, you need to have vast knowledge in this field. And the only way is to read.
Yes, sir.
Is to read. I've
Thank you,
never
sir.
complained to you, and I will never complain. So please, you will know. Pray someone has given you another spiritual end to it. You will know and read. I'm going to give you more textbooks if you want to know more. I will share the textbooks on the platform later on the Google Classroom. I've just shared on the WhatsApp the note. It should have gone to the Google Classroom, but for the pressure you are onto, I had to make that expressly on the WhatsApp. Any other question?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me now? I think my network was
Yes.
breaking before. Yeah, my question is on reflexibility. You mentioned that one of the confirmability techniques to measure validity is reflexibility. And looking at the explanation on that one, it says acknowledging personal bias. So if you are acknowledging personal bias in your research, is it not going to be counterproductive?
No. I wanted to share something yesterday with you on this. No, your bias should be okay. I don't know. Give me a minute if I can get that up. I'm not sure I wrote that down. I hope. I wanted to share with the class that this will be part of. Okay, just give me a moment. Let me unshare the screen. Even if I'm not, I just want to check one of the notes I took yesterday. Now I was reading. I wanted to share with the class on this. You need to record your bias, as a matter of fact, in your chapter 3. Gentlemen and ladies, if you are reading, you need to record your
Yes,
bias.
sir. You mentioned this thing.
Yeah, you
You
need to.
mentioned is that bracketing
Yes, you need to record it.
before
Yes.
going to the field at all.
You need to record
Hmm.
it. And if there are some, that will come at your report. You need to record it. Okay, this is classification. This is for those of you in data mining now. Okay, I saw it yesterday. I wanted to pick it down for you, but I said no. Let me not bother you so much. You guys, you have so many in your brain to talk. Let me deal with my own issue and go away. I'm not sure. I thought I cropped it out so that I can drop it with you. Okay. There's a procedure. It's bias is very, very important. You need to get to a point and write it down. If you look at my screen now, this is data, cleaning process, inspection, cleaning, and verification. Data, data cleaning is a big job that you can't take lightly. Otherwise, you will mess up your publication. Nobody will read your work. Okay, I'm not sure I did that, but it's very important that you need to mention your data bias. Okay, it's something very important. It's not counterproductive. You need to tell them what you believe in so that when your results are mentioned, and also affirm that you will not allow your belief to have any doubt in your data collection process. That is very important. Is that clear, Mr. Chidebere? Okay, I think it's gone now. All right. So let's go through the last process here, then the summary, so that we just conclude this today. So that by next week we'll see something else.
Yes, sir. It's almost like 60.
Okay. So the next, the last stage we want to see is the reliability process measurement, as we have defined earlier. Okay, that the reliability in qualitative research ensures consistency of the results. Okay, how consistent is this? Then we have some method here. Dependability, we have measured this, we have mentioned this before. It's still the same thing. Ensure stability in results over time. Audit trail. Don't forget about what are the auditors looking for. Ensure that there is no gap in your reporting. Okay? Ensure that you collected 20 naira and you are reporting back 20 naira. Keep that in your brain. Then intercoder reliability, meaning that multiple researchers are involved. That's the meaning. To ensure that the same results are coming up, no discrepancy. Somebody will not tell, oh, I saw two. Another person, no, it was 10 I saw. Then there's a problem somewhere. Somebody is not reporting accurately. And the next one is consistency. Findings are the same, coherent. You are not like a police officer who has arrested you and say, okay, come and give your report. And because you knew that it was implicative, what you gave earlier is not different from what you are going to give currently. Then there's a problem somewhere. That's not the kind of report you are looking for. So either you are arrested, by the truth and the worthiness of your word remain the same forever in research. That's what we mean. Then detailed trustworthiness and all that. So these are methods that we need to be consistent with. So in summary, if you look at, want to summarize what we have just gone through before we leave, okay? We've talked about different keys. Look at the issue of concept here, credibility. It was actually in validity. Trustworthiness was in validity. Dependability in reliability. Conformability in both. You discover that. Conformability in both. So if you can use this as a summary to read, you will really enjoy it. Then the other one is method to measure it with. Triangulation, member checking, flexibility, peer briefing.
Sorry for interrupting, sir. Please, sir, you are not sharing the slide again.
Oh, did I drop the
Thanks.
slide earlier?
It's
We can actually
sharing.
see the screen.
I can see it.
Oh,
Can see it. You can see
It's
the
being
screen.
shared though.
It's shared,
We
sir.
can see
Sir,
it.
it's on, sir. It's on. It's on.
uh-oh.
It's on.
I would have been
I would have been
surprised
surprised
because even the one
because
that
even
I'm
the
not
ones that are
supposed to share it, I still shared it. The one that I'm not supposed to share with you, my personal note, I still shared it. So please, let's mute our profile. If it appears that you can't see this, just refresh and your content will come up again. It means there's a little challenge with your network. So this is a summary that will guide us when we read. There are so many methods, and the key concept, gentlemen and ladies, about research. Someone once said, okay, it was actually It was an NUC meeting I went for somewhere within Babcock. People came from Abuja to evaluate, and they told me that the question I said did not cover the whole syllabus. I said, how can you set a question, you know, on the theory concept that is going to cover? You can't set a question that will cover the whole syllabus. In teaching profession that I have gone through in Nigeria, I'm a certified teacher, teacher TRCN. It is only objective. It is only in objective.
Hey, that's my partner.
Is it only in objective that you can cover every stage of the syllabus? But theory, you want to kill those, you want to set for what? There's no possible. So I disagree with him. We argue over time. I said, no, it's not possible. We have so many things to talk about. And you want to the students to answer every question. So what I'm trying to say in effect is that nobody is going to ask you to give a feedback on this. However, people will ask you when you are writing, when you are teaching, when you are in a conference, you need to be able to talk about this. But when you're talking about too much content coming in, it's not in terms of validation or evaluation of exams. No. But you must know, because someday you will be in my position to teach. And if you don't have this idea, it's a different. When you see the note, you discover that some of the ideas I'm sharing is not within the note. And that's the need for you to go and read. You must be able to, to connect the note with the ideas and the examples that you are bringing on board. And that shows your understanding of the content of discussion. And the moment you can't, then there's a lacuna, a gap between the note and the knowledge. And your students will know this man is just reading for us. Okay? They will rather get the note and run away from the class. But I tell you, if I give you this note and you run away from the class, then you run away from the course entirely. That's the truth. So you just have to understand this. This is my last note for today. May I get a last note from you in terms of questions, contributions, before we call it a day, gentlemen and ladies? I will stop sharing now and also let me stop recording so that we can. Thank you so much for having you in class.
Thank you.
I'm not done for the class, Lawal. I'm just stopping the recording. All right. Do we have questions, by the way, that we may have to involve in the recording? Do you have question? Do you have question? Questions, contributions? Any question?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we can. I like to also capture this in the recording. That's why I've not stopped this. Yes, speak, Mr.
Oh, yes,
Chidebere.
sir. Yes. So what drew my question, what drew my mind to the last question I asked was when we were discussing roles of a researcher initially, we mentioned the fifth role as setting aside biases and explicating the beliefs.
Oh,
Right. So
not
yes. So
that is. Continue, please. Do continue.
yes, but the last part where we now talked about what's the word again? The reflexibility.
Yes,
That now threw a kind of contrast in my mind. But you've clearly expressed that you must acknowledge the bias in your documentation, your presentation, but not necessarily allowing your bias to drive your judgment.
yes.
Right.
That's correct. You said the right thing. That's quite good. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So one thing about this is that you must live it, just like I live it. Though, if I must be frank with you, my research has negative. It has a control over my entire life. When I say entire life, it has taken over my body. I'm research. I'm a researcher. I'm research. I think research all the time. And when you go in such ways, it has a limitation over other areas. Okay. Uh, if there is no question I can't answer anywhere because I live by it every day. However, when you go that way, it has that's my area anyway. It's cutting you off of some benefits also in life. benefit in some other areas that you are supposed to be good at. I don't know if you understand this. So that's it. If you know you are a core person in certain area, you cannot be core in others. So why don't you be core in the areas and be known for that area so that anytime they are picking you up to come and discuss, they know that they are getting the best in that area and you are a specialist in that area. So you cannot be jack of all trade, just be jack of one and forget everywhere. I don't know if you understand this, ladies and gentlemen.
Very well,
Totally
sir.
understood,
So,
sir.
so you can't be
Very
good
well.
when you leave it. You can't leave everything. You can't be good in area that people will be consulting you. Yes, that's fine, but you can't be everywhere. You just have to choose one and leave the others. All right, I would have to stop right now, and I hope to see you.
Okay, sir.
Hello,
Sorry,
sir.
sir. I have a
Hello,
question.
sir.